War creates displaced citizens at an alarming rate. As of May 2022, conflict displaced 100 million people across the world. However, in several instances, displacement is not a one-time affair. Many refugees face displacement several times in the span of a decade, multiplying the damage displacement does in a significant manner. Let us look at Afghanistan as an example. A report by the Norwegian Refugee Council in 2018 found that 7 out of every 10 refugees interviewed had faced displacement more than once. From a group of more than 2,500 refugees, the NRC found that 72% had faced displacement twice, and 27% had faced it 3 times. There are several causes for repeated displacement. The first is war. Refugee families move from a war-torn location to a country nearby, seeking both security and the opportunity to lay down roots. If or when war breaks out in the country they moved to, they must repeat the same process again several times. For example, many Palestinians left home to find a safe haven in Syria. Then war started in Syria, and many had to move again and find refuge in another country, such as Turkey. Another major reason is that many countries around the world are reducing their refugee intake and repatriating or returning refugees back to their war-torn homes. The United Nations, for example, reclassified Afghanistan from post-conflict to active conflict in 2017. Yet, asylum acceptance rates for Afghans in both neighboring and European countries continued to decline. Further, several countries directly flouted international laws to send refugees back home, both directly or via underhanded methods like bribery, coercion, and harassment. Refugees remain in the crosshair of either returning home to danger or surviving in a new, often unfriendly territory. The damages that repeated displacement produce are extensive and devastating. Refugees already have to cope with financial struggles, community tensions, and physical and mental illnesses. They also have to face a significant extra burden when they are displaced repeatedly. Individuals displaced multiple times in Afghanistan dealt with a repeated cycle of heavy travels and multiple resettlements, leading to 80% of displaced families taking high amounts of debts. 20% of these families are afterwards forced to send a child to work due to an unbroken cycle of instability. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, refugees were forced to return to areas where they faced abuse, including rape and murder, because the places where they sought asylum had a huge shortage of food and harsh living conditions. Refugees who fled due to genocide may have to return home to the same danger they fled. This is the case of the Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. India and Bangladesh, in fact, have deported several of them back to Myanmar in the recent times. The only solution, according to researchers who studied repeated displacement, is to put in place stronger protection systems for refugees. Rethinking deportation and repatriation is necessary, especially for rich and populous countries that hold the capacity to make a difference. Research shows that countries like Lebanon, Jordan, and Syria take in the most refugees around the world. In comparison, countries like Japan, Saudi Arabia, and Brazil receive minimal refugees. The European Union and the United States also take in very low numbers in comparison to their capacity. Considering the drastic rise in refugees around the world and nations' unchecked ill treatment of them, pushing governments towards empathy and accountability is the only solution.